A man is working on a sidewalk when he places some bills of money in front of him. A woman then passes by, and when the man is not looking, she takes the money. She then hides the money and leaves. The man is outraged by that. The man then does it again. He takes some cash and puts it in front of him. Another woman then walks by and sees the money on the floor. She sees that the man wasn't looking, takes the money and leaves. The man then does it again. He takes some money notes and puts it in front of you. A third woman then arrives and reports that the man's money was on the floor. The man then thanks him and picks up the money from the floor. The woman then tells her to be careful as there are a lot of bad people in the world. The woman then says she had to leave and the man thanks her. Later, at a job interview, the third woman arrives at the scene. She then greets the other two people who were there. The first woman then tells her not to be near her as the third woman didn't smell right. The second woman then agrees and says that she didn't smell good. She apologizes and says she had to go there on foot because she had no money. The two then start making fun of her because of her clothes. They say that a person shouldn't go to an interview for a big company with that kind of clothes. The third woman didn't understand what they were saying. The first woman then takes her resume and starts reading. She then starts to laugh and make fun of her, because on her resume it was written that she was a cleaning lady. The second woman then says that she would not have a chance to compete with her, as she had studied at one of the best colleges in the country. The first woman then says that she was better than the other two, as she had done 3 colleges and all of them had been abroad. She then takes the third woman's resume and crumples it up. She says she was doing her a favor. The woman then asks why she did that and they tell her to get out of there, because she had no chance of winning. The second woman then starts to complain about the delay for them to be seen, and the first woman says that the vacancy was already hers. Meanwhile, a company employee arrives and asks his boss if he could ask the candidates to enter. The boss then says that the employee should wait a little longer. He then goes up to the candidates and greets everyone. They then say that it was time to start, as they had already waited a long time. He tells them to follow him, as the owner of the company was waiting for them. Inside the room, the owner of the company greets everyone. He then says that your interview would be based on just one question. The first woman then starts laughing and says that it would be so easy. The other woman then says that she had wasted a lot of time there. The boss then says the question was, why did he have to hire any of them? The second woman then says that the reason for hiring her was that she speaks 2 languages. The first woman says the boss could see why in her resume, as it was the most extensive and complete among them. The boss then says he didn't need to see her resume and asks the third woman. She says the truth was, the boss should have hired the other 2 women because their resumes weren't as good as those of the other 2 women. The boss says he wasn't looking for qualifications as his company could provide for them. He says he was looking for people with character and honesty. The first woman then asks how he could not be looking for qualifications, and the boss says that he was looking for people who had a good heart and who had a good character. The first woman then says that she had a great character. The boss then asks if they considered themselves people of good character. The 2 women then say that they were people of fine character. The boss then asks if a person who has a good character would steal from other people. They then say no and would never do something like that. He then says that all the contestants had walked past him earlier and that he was embarrassed for some of them. The two then are shocked by that and say that the owner of the company was crazy. The boss then tells his employee to get him something that would remind them of what he was talking about. The woman then says that she didn't rob him, as the money was on the floor, so it wasn't robbery. The boss then says that that was a lack of character, because she didn't seek to know whose money it was. The other woman then says that she didn't understand anything that was going on there and asks the boss to explain. He says that at his company, he wasn't looking for a good resume because it didn't mean anything to him. He says he was looking for good people who care about others. He says he looks for people he can trust and says he couldn't trust them since they had stolen their boss. The woman then says he could trust her and the boss says he couldn't trust either of them. He then asks them to leave his company. He then said that before they left, he wanted the two to return their money. They then return the money and leave. He says they were in luck as he wasn't going to call the police. The clerk then says that there are too many bad people in the world. The woman then says that it was great to participate in that interview, but that she needs to leave. The boss then tells her to wait, because if she wanted to, the vacancy was hers. The woman then says that the boss would not want her in his company, as her resume was not as good as the other two candidates. The boss then says that she had something he was looking for his company, that she was honest and that's why he wanted her to work for him. The boss then says that he realized that the woman was honest when she returned the phone that wasn't hers. Then we are shown that earlier, another woman walked by her and dropped her cell phone on the floor. The woman then tells the other woman, who thanks her. She then says that it was just her obligation and that she would do it for anyone. The boss then says that that was the type of person he was looking for.